They say appearances deceive, and the heart sees only truth. But what if you had to test the truth for yourself? In the sprawling, chaotic heart of Lagos, a city of glimmering towers and crowded streets, lived Madame Ebel, a woman whose wealth could rival kings. She had once been a young, ambitious dreamer with nothing but grit and determination. Through cunning, resilience, and a relentless vision, she built a business empire that spread across continents. Luxury was her companion, power her ally, but she had learned the most vital lesson early: money reveals character, but it cannot create it. Her life was a delicate balance between empire and family. Her husband had passed years ago, leaving her with vast holdings, corporate influence, and one child, Tay, her son and heir. Tay had grown abroad, studying, learning, becoming a refined young man whose heart was pure but untested by the world. Madame Ebel often wondered, who would truly love him for who he is, not for what he possesses. She had seen women and men alike drawn to wealth like moths to fire, their intentions hidden behind polished smiles and designer attire. She couldn't risk Tay falling victim to such illusions. He deserved someone who could see past the wealth, someone whose soul would remain untainted by greed. And so, she hatched a plan, one of cunning and patience. She would step into the shadows of her own life, become invisible in plain sight. Disguised as Mama Grace, a frail, humble cleaner with faded wrappers and battered slippers, she entered her own company under the guise of lowly servitude. The mop in her hand was her shield, her smile, a mask. The office, a gleaming tower of glass and steel, thrummed with ambition and whispers of competition. Staff members, each wearing their own masks of professionalism, laughed and sneered at Mama Grace, mocking her clumsy movements and humble attire. Yet among them, a young woman stood apart, Chinyere, a junior staff member with quiet confidence, an unassuming grace, and eyes that saw beyond the surface. Chinyere greeted Mama Grace politely, offering a nod or a small word of kindness where others sneered. The matriarch observed in silence. The simplest of acts, a shared umbrella in the rain, a plate offered without hesitation, revealed a heart untouched by envy or ego. As days passed, Ebel tested her further. She orchestrated small accidents, a spilled tray of coffee, a deliberately broken vase, and even staged gossip among colleagues. Chinyere's response was consistent: she helped quietly, never seeking praise, and never succumbing to mockery. It was during one of these trials that Tay returned. Stepping off the private jet into the humid Lagos air, he carried an air of refinement and curiosity. He had grown into a man of principle, aware of the world's temptations but not yet touched by its cynicism. He entered the office without knowing the test that awaited him, drawn instead by a sense of responsibility to his late father's legacy. Chinyere was unaware of his presence, diligently cleaning a small spill in the reception area. When Tay saw her, something stirred, a quiet admiration, an instinctive respect for her composure and humility. Yet he could not know that the real test was just beginning. The office hierarchy, with its petty ambitions, began to stir. Anita and Linda, two ambitious and envious colleagues, whispered among themselves. They were women of sharp minds, but their morals were shallow. They thrived on manipulation, gossip, and the subtle art of climbing by stepping on others. They viewed Chinyere as a threat, though she had done nothing to provoke them. Her innocence and diligence alone irritated them. Madame Ebel, as Mama Grace, observed quietly. She saw the sparks of malice, the calculated glances, the underhanded plotting. She knew that wealth would soon reveal who was loyal, who was corrupt, and who would crumble under temptation. One morning, she set the first major test. An envelope of money, a tempting sum far beyond Chinyere's modest salary, was accidentally left in her workspace with a note suggesting she take it quietly. Chinyere paused, thoughts racing: rent, family responsibilities, bills piling up like threatening waves. Yet her hand did not grasp the envelope. She returned it immediately, leaving a note: "I cannot take what is not mine." Madame Ebel felt her heart swell. Rare, indeed, was the soul that could resist such temptation. And yet, the trials would grow heavier. The gossip escalated. Chinyer was subtly mocked, her movements exaggerated by jealous eyes. Rumors were whispered in corridors, and once trusted colleagues spoke behind her back. Yet she bore it all with dignity, refusing to fight fire with fire. Her eyes remained calm, her heart steady, her purpose intact. Then came the ultimate test of character, the staged accusation. A missing company document was traced to Chinyer's desk. CCTV footage, conveniently erased, seemed to implicate her. Whispers became accusations. The office, once indifferent, now glared with judgment. Chinyer's reputation hung by a thread. Even as fear and anxiety gripped her, she remained composed. She refused to lash out, to plead desperately, or to stoop to deception. Her patience and integrity became her shield. Madame Ebel watched, silently proud, but the final test had yet to come. Tae's observations became critical. He had noticed Chinyer's resilience, her refusal to compromise, and her unwavering honesty. Yet the evidence seemed overwhelming. Chinyer's inner monologue reflected a young woman tested by fire. I have done no wrong, yet the world insists I am guilty. How many people would stand firm if the tables were turned? How many would sell their souls for convenience or fear? Late in the evening, Ebel, still disguised, invited Chinyer to a humble dinner. The meal was simple, rice, beans, and a few vegetables. Yet it carried weight far beyond taste, the weight of a lesson, of observation, of the unspoken challenge of integrity. Madame Ebel spoke gently, her voice carrying wisdom. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend, not everyone who flatters you has your best interest. But kindness, honesty, and humility, they never go unnoticed. Chinyer listened intently, nodding. She didn't know the true identity of the woman before her, but she felt the sincerity in the words, the warmth behind the gaze. As night fell, Lagos glimmered outside the window, a city of dreams and deception. Madame Ebel knew the true test was far from over. Tae's return had shifted the dynamics. The next trials would challenge loyalty, character, and the ability to endure envy, temptation, and betrayal. And thus, the stage was set. A young woman of integrity, a son untested by love or wealth, and a mother disguised as a humble servant, all bound together in a web of trials that would reveal the truth of hearts, not fortunes. The first part of the test was complete. Chinyer had proven her initial strength. But the shadows of deceit were stirring, and the trials to come would demand more than patience, they would demand courage, wisdom, and an unwavering heart. The city never slept. Lagos, with its tangled streets, roaring traffic, and neon lights, pulsed with life and secrets. Every corner carried whispers, every building echoed ambitions and schemes. For Chinyer, life had just become a gauntlet of unseen trials. The first test had proven her integrity, but the trials now grew heavier, more intricate, and far more personal. Tae, unaware of the depth of his mother's plan, watched Chinyer closely. Her poise, her unwavering composure, and the quiet kindness she displayed in the face of adversity intrigued him. He had been drawn to many women before, but Chinyer was different. She seemed untouchable by ego, unshaken by fear, and guided by a moral compass that refused to bend. Yet, even as admiration stirred in Tae's heart, the office became a battlefield. Anita and Linda, the envious colleagues, escalated their schemes. They whispered, plotted, and created traps, hoping to see Chinyer falter. Their ambition was raw and selfish, their jealousy insatiable. To them, Chinyer's integrity wasn't admirable, it was threatening. The first act of malice came in the form of a new assignment. Chinyer was tasked with preparing a presentation for an important client, a client worth millions. The instructions were intentionally misleading, the data subtly flawed. The goal was clear, make her fail. Chinyer worked tirelessly, double-checking figures, questioning instructions, and staying awake late into the night to ensure accuracy. She was meticulous, but the traps set were intricate. Despite her diligence, Tae noticed a subtle tension in her eyes during a meeting. He approached her quietly after the client left, concern evident on his face. "Everything okay?" he asked, his tone gentle but probing. Chinyer hesitated, the weight of office politics pressing on her shoulders. "I think so. But some of the instructions don't add up. I'm just trying to make sure everything is correct." Tae studied her, impressed. Her commitment, even under pressure, confirmed what he already suspected. Her heart was honest, and her intentions pure. But he could see the storm brewing, the subtle attacks that she herself did not fully grasp. Meanwhile, Anita and Linda were preparing their next move. They decided to target Chinyer's personal life, attempting to plant seeds of doubt and fear. Anonymous messages arrived, insinuating that Chinyer had ulterior motives, suggesting she sought to climb the corporate ladder at any cost. Rumors spread quickly in the office, and some colleagues began to distance themselves from her. Chinyer felt the sting but did not retaliate. She continued her work with unwavering focus, aware that reacting emotionally would only feed their schemes. Her internal monologue reflected strength and clarity. "Let them try. Truth has a way of revealing itself. I will not compromise my integrity, not for recognition, not for fear, and not for wealth." Madame Ebel, still disguised as Mama Grace, observed silently. She had seen these tactics before, the subtle manipulations, the psychological games meant to fracture confidence. Yet Chinyer's response was exemplary. She did not panic, she did not seek shortcuts, and she did not allow external chaos to dictate her inner peace. One evening, a new figure entered the scene, Ifani, a suave investor visiting the company for potential partnerships. To Chinyer, he appeared genuinely kind and attentive, asking questions, offering guidance, and even praising her work ethic. But Madame Ebel watched closely. She knew the world often presented wolves in sheep's clothing. Ifani's intentions were not yet clear, and his presence introduced another layer to the test. Ifani began spending time with Chinyer, ostensibly to mentor her. He subtly suggested shortcuts, ways to improve outcomes by bending minor rules or taking advantage of opportunities that weren't technically hers. The temptation was presented delicately, like sugar coating a bitter pill. Chinyer noticed the suggestions but felt an internal resistance. She politely declined, maintaining her principles while remaining professional. Tae, observing from a distance, felt a mix of admiration and worry. He wanted to warn her, to intervene, but something inside him held back. He knew that for her to truly demonstrate character, she had to navigate these challenges herself. The tension escalated when the company faced a sudden crisis. A client dispute threatened to withdraw a multi-million-dollar deal, and blame was subtly directed toward Chinyer. Anita and Linda had manipulated correspondence, making it appear as if she had failed to deliver critical information. Chinyer was called into a private meeting with the executive board. She stood firm, presenting evidence, clarifying communication, and maintaining composure even as the room pressed her with accusations. Her voice was steady, her words measured, her logic impeccable. Yet, the pressure was immense, the stakes higher than anything she had faced before. Madame Ebel watched with pride, yet she knew the hardest test was approaching, a trial that would challenge loyalty, truth, and the ability to navigate human deception. She began orchestrating the next stage. The plan involved a dramatic twist, a fabricated emergency in Tae's personal life, designed to test Chinyer's loyalty and sincerity. A staged accident at Tae's residence suggested he was in danger, and Chinyer was faced with a moral choice. Would she act out of genuine concern, or would fear and hesitation dominate her response? Chinyer's decision was immediate. She rushed to Tae's side, navigating city traffic with courage and determination. Her actions were selfless, risking personal comfort, career standing, and social perception to ensure his safety. This act, witnessed by Madame Ebel, revealed the true depth of her character. In the aftermath, Chinyer's bravery and selflessness began to shift perceptions in the office. Some colleagues who had doubted her integrity began to reconsider, while others plotted more aggressively, unwilling to see their schemes fail. The psychological landscape of the office became a battlefield of perception, trust, and morality. During this period, Chinyear and Tae began to form a bond, subtle yet profound. Conversations evolved from casual exchanges to deeper discussions about values, dreams, and personal philosophies. Tae admired her courage, resilience, and clarity of conscience, while Chinyear found in him a quiet strength, empathy, and understanding rarely seen in people drawn to power and wealth. Meanwhile, the shadow of Mama Grace loomed over every interaction. Madame Ebel subtly guided events, ensuring the challenges were fair, yet revealing, allowing Chinyear to grow through each test rather than be destroyed by them. The climax of Part 2 approached with a personal betrayal. Linda, consumed by envy, orchestrated a situation where Chinyear's honesty would be questioned in front of the executive board. Sensitive information was leaked, implicating Chinyear in an act she did not commit. The office tension reached its peak. Chinyear, faced with humiliation and the potential end of her budding career, remained steadfast. She addressed the board with clarity, presenting evidence, expressing her perspective without malice, and maintaining dignity despite personal attacks. Her resilience became her armor, her honesty her sword. Tae, witnessing this display, felt admiration turn into a deeper recognition. Chinyear was not only intelligent and capable but possessed a moral strength rare in a world dominated by greed, manipulation, and superficiality. By the end of Part 2, the stakes had escalated to a breaking point. Chinyear had survived deception, temptation, betrayal, and personal tests of courage. She had proven herself in the eyes of those who mattered, though the true revelation awaited, the unveiling of Mama Grace's identity and the ultimate lesson about love, integrity, and the measure of true hearts. As Lagos lights shimmered across the river that night, casting reflections like fleeting memories, a sense of anticipation filled the air. The final test loomed, promising to challenge not just Chinyear but Tae as well, intertwining destinies in ways neither could yet fully comprehend. Madame Ebel, behind her humble disguise, prepared to reveal the final act, a test not of skill, intellect, or resilience, but of the heart itself. For it is the heart, not fortune or position, that determines the measure of a person. The dawn in Lagos broke like molten gold spilling over the city skyline, glinting off glass towers and casting long shadows over streets teeming with life. The city seemed unchanged, unaware of the private battles unfolding within the walls of luxury offices and opulent residences. But inside Tae's estate, tension hung heavier than the morning mist. The final test was about to unfold. Chinyear awoke to the sound of the city outside, unaware that her life had reached the most delicate balance yet. The trials she had faced in the office, the deceptions, the betrayals, and the subtle temptations, all of it had led to this moment. Today, the truth would finally surface, and the strength of heart she had displayed would either be vindicated or questioned in ways she could never have imagined. Meanwhile, Madame Ebel, still disguised as Mama Grace, observed silently from a discreet corner. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, followed Chinyear's every move. She had orchestrated every challenge, every obstacle, and every temptation. She knew Chinyear's character inside out, yet this final test was designed not only to reveal Chinyear's essence but also to challenge the heart of the man who had been watching quietly throughout, Tae. The first hint of the test came in the form of an urgent phone call. A voice, unfamiliar yet commanding, delivered news that seemed to shake the foundation of Tae's world. A sudden accident had occurred involving a critical business partner, threatening millions in investments. Panic could have been the natural reaction, but Tae, trained in composure and accustomed to crises, maintained a calm exterior. Chinyear, sensing the gravity of the situation, immediately offered to help. "Tell me what you need," she said, her voice steady yet filled with genuine concern. Her instinctive response revealed a selflessness that even the schemers and doubters could not deny. As they rushed to assess the situation, the staged disaster unveiled itself as more complex than either had imagined. Documents were missing, communications had been intercepted, and the orchestrated chaos seemed designed to force decisions based on fear rather than logic. Chinyear remained focused, separating emotion from action, analyzing every detail and ensuring no hasty decisions compromised integrity. Tae, though impressed, also observed a subtle shift within himself. He realized that Chinyeur's courage and moral clarity were not just traits of intelligence, they were reflections of a heart grounded in truth, resilience, and empathy. He began to see the full weight of Madame Ebel's tests. It was not merely about surviving office politics, but about proving that character could withstand the storms of life without compromise. Meanwhile, Anita and Linda, sensing Chinyeur's rise, planned a final act of sabotage. They conspired to manipulate evidence, creating a scenario that made it appear as though Chinyeur had misappropriated funds to cover for the staged accident. This was their ultimate test, to see if she would falter, succumb to panic, or manipulate circumstances to protect herself. But Chinyeur, forewarned by intuition and unwavering in her principles, anticipated the move. She meticulously gathered evidence, cross-referenced communications, and prepared a compelling narrative grounded in truth. Her strategy was not born of cunning or deceit, but of clarity, preparation, and integrity. When the moment arrived, the confrontation was dramatic. In the grand boardroom, with executives, investors, and even some of the doubting colleagues present, Chinyeur presented her case. Calm, articulate, and unwavering, she explained every discrepancy, demonstrated the manipulations, and highlighted the truth without casting personal blame unnecessarily. The room was silent as her words sank in. Where once whispers and doubt had dominated, admiration and respect now took root. Even Anita and Linda, the orchestrators of deceit, could not undermine the undeniable truth of her actions. Their schemes, exposed by Chinyeur's meticulous preparation and moral clarity, fell apart under the weight of evidence and integrity. Tae watched from the side, emotions swelling. Pride, admiration, and an emerging affection coalesced into a realization. He had found in Chinyeur not just a colleague, not just a friend, but a partner whose moral compass aligned with his own deepest values. She had proven herself under fire, under deception, and under temptation, qualities rare even among the powerful elite. The final revelation approached. Madame Ebel, having observed every move, decided it was time to remove the veil. In a quiet, intimate gathering, she revealed her true identity. The shock was profound. Chinyeur had been tested not only by colleagues, by staged disasters, and by personal trials, but by the very architect of the entire experience, a woman of immense wealth, wisdom, and insight. Chinyeur, Madame Ebel said softly, her voice resonant with authority and warmth, "You have passed every test. Not because you sought wealth or position, not because you sought recognition, but because you acted with truth, courage, and selflessness. That is the measure of your character." In the days that followed, the office dynamic shifted. Colleagues who had doubted, plotted, or envied found themselves confronted by the undeniable truth of Chinyeur's integrity. Some sought reconciliation, others silently observed, and a few left, unable to reconcile their own lack of principle with the standard she had set. Madame Ebel, satisfied with the results, began withdrawing from direct involvement, confident that the lessons had taken root. Her purpose, testing, guiding, and revealing, was fulfilled. She had demonstrated that the greatest wealth in life was not money, influence, or recognition, but the clarity of heart, the courage of conviction, and the capacity to act with integrity in every circumstance. Chinyeur, now recognized for her unwavering character, reflected on the journey. She had faced deceit, jealousy, temptation, and fear, yet she had remained true to herself. The lessons were indelible: self-respect, courage, and moral clarity were worth more than gold, and love, real love, was born from respect, trust, and shared values. Tae, now fully aware of Madame Ebel's orchestration, approached her one evening. "You didn't just test her," he said, voice tinged with awe. "You taught me too. That love, loyalty, and integrity can withstand any storm." Madame Ebel smiled, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of experience. "The world is full of tests," she replied softly. "The question is not whether challenges will come, but whether you have the courage to meet them with truth, and the humility to recognize the strength in others when it shines through." As Lagos settled into the quiet of night, Chinyeur and Tae sat together overlooking the city lights. Their journey, fraught with challenges, deception, and revelation, had reached a resolution not of circumstance but of character. They had emerged stronger, wiser, and bonded by a shared understanding of what truly mattered. The lessons of the story echoed far beyond their personal lives. The moral was simple yet profound: integrity cannot be manufactured, character cannot be faked, and love that survives trials is love that is grounded in truth. Wealth, power, and influence are fleeting, but the courage to act rightly, the resilience to endure, and the clarity to see through deception endure forever. In the end, Lagos continued to bustle, unaware of the personal transformations that had taken place. But inside, two hearts aligned, shaped by trials, tested by fire, and proven by integrity, embarked on a shared path. A path illuminated not by wealth or status, but by the quiet power of truth, courage, and love. And so, the story closed, not with a grand spectacle, but with the profound resonance of character triumphing over adversity, love blossoming from respect and understanding, and a moral truth etched forever in the lives of those who dared to act with integrity.